Some GOP lawmakers are looking to rein in President Donald Trump's abilities to impose tariffs. Whoa, so this is some backlash. With broad tariffs on Canada and Mexico set to kick in next week and a recently announced duty on most imported vehicles, Republicans in Congress are concerned about the massive price increases on everyday goods, and they're worried that it may trigger a backlash against the Republican Party. In fact, here is Representative Don Bacon on CNN saying, you know what, maybe we should, maybe Congress should kind of rein Trump in when it comes to tariffs.
Could Republicans in Congress specifically be doing more to push the president to try to de-escalate his trade war? What leverage do you have?
Well, in Article 1 in the Constitution, really tariffs should be a congressional initiated action. So this should come from Congress. However, I think we made a mistake. In the past, we passed legislation that gave the president some temporary tariff authorities. And I think we should look back and maybe restore the power back to Congress and take away the authorizations that we've allowed the presidents, not just President Trump, but President Biden and President Obama before him. This power should reside in the House and the Senate. And we have the power of the purse. And so I think we should restore these authorities back to the House.
Oh, did you accidentally give too much power to a man baby who is now using it to wreck the economy? Huh.
Whoopsie.
Oh, weird. Oh, it's not like you couldn't see this one coming. I mean, come on. Except, look look at all the warnings, okay, that were given about Donald Trump and how, hey, he's going to destroy the economy. He's going to loot the treasury because, number one, he's an idiot, and number two, he's also an idiot. Okay. I should say number two. He's a piece of number two. But okay, anyway. Those warnings, though, TDS, that fake news. Come on. You guys are just being mean to Donald Trump because Orange Man bad. No, Orange Man idiot. Orange Man dumb. Orange Man gonna crash the economy. Okay? Orange Man has no guardrails. Back in the first Trump administration, there actually was guardrails. There were people, adults in the room that were saying, no, sir, you can't just do that. That doesn't exist anymore. It's a free-for-all up there. And so he's doing whatever he wants. And of course, what he wants is going to destroy this country. Okay, that's it. That's what's happening. Now, look, the thing is, people can literally go to the store and see that, oh, things are more expensive. Yeah, inflation, tariffs, these trade wars. That's what's going on. Now, there's another GOP representative, Ralph Norman of North Carolina, who came out against the tariffs and said they would be painful for Americans, but was like, well, I hope that Donald Trump's plan would work. What plan? What plan is there? There is no plan. He has no plan. Phil Swaggle, the Republican chief of the Congressional Budget Office, also said that the tariff plan would hurt American consumers in the long term, in the short term, sorry. Now, he said it reduces the efficiency of the economy, but, and it boosts the price level. We don't think it leads to sustained inflation, but there is a period of inflation that has a negative effect on families and on businesses and on business investment, he said on CNBC Thursday. Now, so here's the thing, though. Trump gaslights people on these tariffs. He keeps saying things like, oh, the foreign countries, they're going to pay so much. Foreign countries don't pay the tariffs. We pay the tariffs. The importer pays the tariffs. And then the importer will pass the cost down to the consumer. That's how it works. He cannot admit that because if he did, he'd be admitting that, oh, my plan is to raise taxes on working people. Oops. All while cutting vital services, as the GOP works to give rich people massive tax cuts while cutting your health care and food. Okay? Look, it's a disaster. Okay? Everything that Trump is doing is a disaster. But I'm going to focus here on the tariffs because these tariffs have alienated our allies. They have even led to Canada breaking up with us.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation, is over. We can control our destiny. We can give ourselves much more than any foreign government, including the United States, can ever take away. We can deal with this crisis best by building our strength right here at home. It will take hard work. It will take steady and focused determination from governments, from businesses, from labor, from Canadians. We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States. We will need to pivot our trade relationships elsewhere. And we will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations.
That's Prime Minister of Canada, who was one of our biggest trading partners. They had bought billions of dollars in goods from our companies and our farmers. But thanks to Trump, they're going to go elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, people actually believed it when Trump said, "Oh, I'm going to lower prices." No, it was never true. The biggest con job ever. Prices are going up, inflation is up, tariffs, unemployment, they're all going up. And we're only about 3 months in. 3 months in. And people are already pissed. According to a recent 1,000-person survey conducted by Clever Real Estate, only 26% of Americans feel better off than they did back in September, with only a third, 34%, expecting a better financial situation 6 months from now. Disaster. 63% of those surveyed, meanwhile, believe the government is not doing enough to address economic issues like insurance costs that are going up, inflation, and the general state of the economy. The poll also revealed that nearly 3/4, about 74% of Americans, believe that inflation is going to get worse, with 70% expressing greater concern about inflation than back in September, and only 39% approve of Trump's approach to managing it, which is not really managing it at all. They're not really doing anything to help inflation. In fact, they're helping inflation get bigger. Trump is crashing the economy. And you know what? Starting to think, maybe that's on purpose. Well, what do you mean? If you crash the economy, rich people can come up and easily swoop up properties, housing, businesses. They can consolidate ownership even more than it is right now, and they're going to make a killing. What's to stop them? I mean, antitrust enforcement has been completely gutted. Okay? They're not going after these corporations. What's to stop the extremely wealthy, people like Elon Musk, but also companies like BlackRock, Blackstone, whatever, from buying up everything if the economy goes into recession or, I dare say, depression as a result of the actions that Trump has taken? He and his rich friends, they win, while we become nothing but serfs in a tech bro oligarchic hellscape. This is what people like Peter Thiel, a gigantic Donald Trump, Musk, J.D. Vance voter, wants. Remember, Thiel says monopolies are good. He thinks monopolies are awesome. He wrote, if you're starting a company, if you're the founder, the entrepreneur starting a company, you always want to aim for monopoly. You always want to avoid competition. Competition is for losers. So he hates competition, which, by the way, means he hates capitalism. Okay? Now, this goes along with his movement towards dark enlightenment, which is it's an oxymoron for one. But secondly, it basically is just a fancy word for neo-fascism. Media researcher David Columbia called this movement, quote, the worship of corporate power, to the extent that corporate power becomes the only power in the world. One of that movement's loudest voices, by the way, is another blogger called Curtis Yarvin, who Thiel has invested a lot of money into. So to get where they want to go, where they don't have democracy anymore, they would have to first crash the economy. That looks like the goal of Donald Trump. Whether he's smart enough to realize that that's what he's doing, that is what he's doing. Okay, so I don't know. People like Teal, they only needed somebody who's smart enough to operate a pen, okay, but dumb enough to believe that, oh no, everything's going to be great if I just do this particular thing. If I end up crashing the economy, it's going to be great. I'll benefit from it somehow. Look, Trump is not about helping voters, and what he's about is, and what this movement is about behind him, is fundamentally changing the United States into a place where freedom no longer exists and the rich rule everything. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.